In today's video, I'll explain to you in detail the science behind rewiring your subconscious mind in relation to healing, embodiment, and manifestation. Let's get right into it. When you begin the work of self-transformation, what you're truly doing is retraining your brain to operate from a new level of consciousness. Okay? So every pattern, behavior, belief, and emotional response that you have ever lived out is the direct result of neural pathways in your brain that have been reinforced over time through, first of all, repetition, but also emotional intensity. And the subconscious mind, which, by the way, governs up to 95% of your daily thoughts and behaviors, it's not something abstract, right? It's deeply physiological, it's something tangible. And like I said, it rules about 95% of your everyday, which means that you're acting almost completely on autopilot. So all of your habits are basically an automation, right? And it being physiological means that it's just a sum of your conditionings, your emotional memory, and your nervous system's programming, which are all stored in your brain's neural networks, and they are expressed automatically through your body, hence the autopilot. Okay? Now, your subconscious is shaped between your birth and around the age of 7 to 10 years. So that's when your brain operates primarily in theta brainwave states, which are highly suggestible and impressionable frequencies where everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel imprints in your subconscious into your brain as truth. So you absorb it, right? During these years, you absorb your parents' behaviors, the energy in your home, the way love, safety, and even worth were modeled to you, and how conflict was handled. Basically, you act like a sponge. You absorb absolutely everything. Okay? These early patterns don't just influence you, they become you. You integrate them and embody them instantly. The neural circuits that are formed during your early years, they continue firing in predictable ways for decades. Okay? So until you're an adult, until you're a teenager, until you're an adult, until you change it. So unless you consciously interrupt and rewire them, they will rule your life. They will be your programming. So next time you speak a certain way in front of little children, or you think that they won't understand what is going on between you and your partner right now, or they don't understand what you're telling them, or the energy you give them, think again. Even though children don't understand what is happening logically, because again, they are operating from these theta brainwave states, so they just absorb everything. Their brain is not fully developed yet, obviously, but their subconscious still saves everything that is happening and being felt within the brain's database that is within their subconscious. Okay? Rewiring the subconscious is not about forcing positive thinking or trying to outfirm, so using affirmations, on your limiting beliefs, which the spiritual love and light culture tries to convince you about that. That is not how the universe works, because the universe is not moral, it's mechanical, it's mental. Okay, it doesn't care about whether you're a good person with good thoughts and intentions. All it cares about is your frequency. So it's about teaching your brain and nervous system to feel safe in a new reality, which should be one that contradicts your old identity and shifts you to higher frequencies. And the reason change often feels so hard in that case is because your brain is literally wired to prioritize familiarity over progress. You see, the subconscious associates the known, even if it's painful and self-sabotaging, okay, with safety. So when you start changing your habits, your behaviors, your emotional responses, your amygdala, which is the part of your brain that is responsible for detecting threat and risk, and danger to assure your survival, the amygdala perceives this as danger and signals resistance through fear and doubt and procrastination. This is why transformation requires both awareness and regulation, because you cannot think your way out of a subconscious pattern. Okay, this is why surface level manifestation work and healing work doesn't work. It's not deep enough. It doesn't reach your subconscious. It only reaches your conscious. And again, your conscious only rules about 5% of your day. So that's basically nothing, right? You have to recondition your body and brain to no longer perceive your situation, your conversation, the person, the circumstance that you find yourself in as unsafe to change. Which brings me to the topic of neuroplasticity. Okay, and neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections in your brain. Okay, so when the nerves in your brain form new connections, they hook onto other nerves and form new neural pathways. And it is what makes this whole ability to actually change on a subconscious level possible. So every thought and behavior you repeat, it strengthens a neural pathway, okay? And the more emotional energy that you give that, the faster it becomes your new default state. So when you begin rewiring, what you're actually doing is weakening the old connections that you have that represent outdated beliefs, and you are creating new ones aligned with your current truth, so aligned with your current identity. However, this process, and I have to tell you that because people are so addicted to instant gratification that they just give up way too quickly when it comes to this kind of work. This process isn't instantaneous, okay? It requires consistency and emotional engagement and safety, okay? Nervous system regulation, because you cannot rewire your brain from a dysregulated state. The survival brain doesn't learn, it simply reacts. This is why regulating your nervous system is a non-negotiable. It allows your prefrontal cortex, which is the rational and conscious part of your brain, to stay online, stay active, stay intact, okay, stay open, and direct new behavior intentionally instead of defaulting to the subconscious autopilot, where you have no control. So repetition is the key to rewiring because it's how the brain learns to associate new patterns with safety, with familiar, because again, the familiar equals safe, okay? But not all repetition is equal. Emotional repetition is what truly makes a change stick. You can repeat an affirmation 100 times with no emotional connection, for example, and nothing will happen. Or you can have one emotionally charged realization that just shifts the way you feel about yourself and your life and any kind of circumstance completely and rewire an entire pattern. That is why certain methods work for some people, but not for others. It's not about the method. We're always searching for the best method, the best technique, the best 5 steps guide, the best hack to make our manifestations real as fast as possible, right? But it's not about the method, it's about your feeling state. This is why it works for some people and for others it doesn't. It's simply a difference in their feeling state. The subconscious doesn't speak in words. It speaks in emotion and sensory experience. That's why visualization, embodiment, integrity, and nervous system regulation are so powerful. They anchor new beliefs through feeling into your body where they become automated, okay? Automatic. And in the process of rewiring, identity plays the central role because the subconscious mind doesn't operate from logic, but identity-based association. So it doesn't respond to what you want. Again, it doesn't care, the universe doesn't care if you're a good person with good intentions. It doesn't care what you want. It responds to who you believe yourself to be. It responds to what your subconscious mind is wired to. Every thought, emotion, and behavior stems from that identity. So if you consciously decide that, let's say, you want success, but subconsciously you still identify with things like struggle and scarcity and fear of failure or failure itself, that is when your nervous system will keep pulling you back toward experiences that confirm the old story. So you keep experiencing all of these things: struggle, scarcity, poverty, failure, all of the things, right? Reprogramming is about embodying the new identity before your outer world, before the external evidence actually shows up. Because the brain rewires through experience and not through theory. Okay, so you have to stop waiting for the external to change without changing your internal first. Once you change, the universe, God, your life, whatever you want to call it, the label doesn't matter, it will follow. Okay, but you have to go first. The more you think, feel, and act as the new version of you, the more your brain normalizes that as your new baseline. So over time, your reticular activating system, which is also called RAS in short, which I'm going to keep using, it is the filter in your brain that determines what information is important, what information gets filtered out. And it begins to seek out and recognize evidence that aligns with your new identity, further reinforcing the pattern that you're trying to change. It's kind of like, let's say, you're in a GPS system that tells you where to go in order to become a stronger version of yourself and anchor in more evidence to support the vision that you have, to support the identity that you want to have, to support the version that you want to become, the life that you want to have. That's basically what it does. What you focus on expands not because of spiritual law alone, but because your brain is constantly matching your internal focus with external validation. This is the science behind transformation. You can see that it's not magic or some type of luck, but it's simply biology, right? I literally learned that in my bachelor's of psychology. When you change your thoughts and feelings consistently, you literally change your brain structure. When you shift your identity and regulate your nervous system, you change your chemistry, not only in your brain, but within your whole body. And when you act from that new alignment long enough, you stop needing to try. Your subconscious simply takes over, makes it an automation, and makes it who you are. It's your new default state. Okay, it's your new normal. That's when it stops being effort and when it really becomes embodiment. That's when you live in integrity. That's when you're actually living on that frequency that you want to live on. Rewiring your subconscious is not an overnight process. Again, you can have overnight shifts, but rewiring your whole subconscious is not an overnight process, but it is inevitable when you commit to it. Okay, when you repeat it regularly, consistently. Every time you choose a new response, regulate instead of react, and embody the next level version of you that you desire, that you imagine, whatever that is for you, even when it's uncomfortable. Actually, especially when it's uncomfortable, because that's when it counts. You are physically reshaping your brain, and you are energetically reprogramming your life. Okay, this is the bridge that you need to understand between science and spirituality. You can see that it is not as much an abstract concept as you probably thought it was. It is the actual design of human evolution, of the human species. So remember, you are not your past patterns, okay? Whoever you were, you are not your conditioning if you choose to not be. You are the conscious creator of what your brain believes and what your body becomes. So who do you want to be? You just finally have to decide who you want to be. And if you want me to mentor you through that, then hop on inside my Coming Home to Yourself membership, and you will see how much and how quickly things can change for you within the next year. I'll see you inside.